happy readers. Today we're reading this. If you've not watched the review for the Farfield Curse, I will put that right there. I apologize for my last review. I said Madge instead of Mage, and I completely apologize for that. Anyways, so, this book, Bran just keeps finding things from his mother's past. He's just dealing with all of her crap that she left behind for him, it seems like. Like in this one, she leaves behind a safety deposit box. We're not sure if it's supposed to be left for him or if he's supposed to find it or if somebody else was supposed to find it, but Bran finds it. Upon attempting trying to find out what can open this box, Bran finds a long-lost family member, which makes the story very, very interesting. His friend Astera gets kidnapped by some magical creatures called the Specters that were involved in the Farfield Curse. So once they open the box and they find this key, Addie sends Bran to her brother, who is like a professional key wizard. So Bran goes and visits Gary, and he lives in this house under the sea, which is pretty much as close as you could get to being SpongeBob SquarePants, which I think is awesome. So Gary has these gadgets and gizmos aplenty that have to do with like keys. So after some tribulation and turmoil, Gary tells Bran where the key goes, and not necessarily where the key goes, but like what it does, and tells him how it rolls out into a map, and takes the flute that he has and rolls it out too, because they're both parts of a map. And I think there's some other parts of the map that the unexpected family member from the beginning of the book has, and that person helps Bran along his way to help find Astera. Bran just keeps stumbling upon trouble, but at least in this book the bad guys are much, much better. That it's just A+. Elspeth was like so much more horrible than any of the other bad guys in the previous book. Like, I'm serious, like she is like bad incarnate, and it's awesome. More fighting and crazy stuff goes on, and they find Astera and they let her loose, and the Specters go free, and it's all good at the end, and they get to celebrate. Personally, my favorite part is when he's in the house under the sea with Gary, and he's finding out all this more stuff about his mother and how she wasn't that terrible. I thought that this book was an improvement to the first one because, like, you know, people develop and whatnot, but also there's like parts where Bran goes from being 14 and kind of immature, being like very immature and explaining things. He's giving you insight on the magic world. But yeah, the adventure is still there, the action is still there. It's not necessarily slower than the first book, but it's not so much action running around all the time. Like when he's with Gary, it's you know, figuring out things like the neat house. That house seems so awesome. I wish it were real. Like all the detail and everything. I really like the detail in this book. Like, oh my gosh, if you love imagery, you will love this book, which I do. You're a nice little book. But yeah, I really like this book. I would give it an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 because it was really good. At the same time, there were parts where I was just like, I don't understand why this person is jumping from being mature to immature. But yeah, good book. You should pick it up. It's really cheap, $7.99. Right there, look. You should also buy the first one. I'll put a link to all that down there. And yeah, I hope that this was as good as the first review, even though I'm not dressed up as a crazy person. So I hope you have a lovely, fantastical day and keep reading.